Yet recently, the frequency of smaller eruptions venting steam and ash had begun to increase. Soon the sides of the volcano turned barren and rocky as red-hot ash and balls of scalding pumice burned away all the nearby jungle. This was the state of things as that fatal day about 74,000 years ago dawned. Events really got rolling when the huge dome rumbled with a deep vibration that shook all of Sumatra. Jets of steam and ash shot one after another from the summit. Then came an explosion louder than any sound previously heard by humans in their entire evolution. For comparison, when Krakatau or Krakatoa volcano, also in Indonesia, erupted in 1883, it created a sonic boom that could be heard 8,000 kilometers, 5,000 miles away, and which traveled around the world 7 times. That blast, 5,000 times as powerful as the Hiroshima nuclear bomb explosion, was the largest explosion heard in recent times. Yet the eruption of Mount Toba released the energy of 1 million tons of explosives, 40 times larger than the largest hydrogen bomb that humans have ever built, more than 1,000 times as powerful as Krakatau, and 3,000 times as powerful as the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980. Thus, the sonic boom from Toba must have been deafening to animals and people for many kilometers around, and must have bounced around the Earth repeatedly, dwarfing any other sound produced on Earth in the previous 28 million years. After the explosion, a gigantic mushroom cloud of hot ash rose many thousands of meters into the stratosphere. Meanwhile, superheated ash and gases as hot as 1,100 degrees Celsius, 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit, flowed down the sides of the mountain in gigantic, turbulent clouds, traveling up to 320 kilometers or 200 miles per hour. They incinerated everything in the jungles for many kilometers. A dense blanket of ash and pumice covered not only Sumatra, but also most of the nearby islands, causing death and devastation wherever it settled. The ashfall spread across southern Asia as well, leaving a thick deposit even in India, more than 3,000 kilometers, 1,800 miles away. The ash cover in India was on average about 15 centimeters, 6 inches thick. In the years following the eruption, it mingled with other layers and moved downslope, forming secondary ash deposits several meters thick, as happened in the Mount St. Helens eruption in 1980. Tropical rains turned the ash into mud with the texture of wet cement, which made rivers and pathways into impassable morasses and collapsed tree branches and sometimes even whole trees under its weight. Small huts, too, probably were crushed under thousands of kilograms of wet ash. Sea levels were lower at that time, but it is likely that a tsunami triggered by seismic activity associated with the eruption would have killed many people living along the coast. The people and animals of the jungle found their world in utter ruin, and most local survivors must have soon died of starvation, while others died from inhaling dry, dusty ash. Volcanic ash particles are microscopic shards of glass, and they cut up the insides of the lungs, which scar and then clog with fluid. These were the effects on the life of the jungles within a few thousand kilometers of the erupting volcano. But areas beyond the densest ashfall were affected as well. Clouds spread around the world, leaving a blanket of ash on the ocean floor in many places thousands of kilometers from the eruption. The volcano spewed about 10 billion metric tons, 11 billion short tons, of sulfuric acid, and 6 million metric tons, 6.6 million short tons, of sulfur dioxide, which combined with water in the atmosphere to make sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid was devastating to life in many parts of the globe and can be detected even in the Greenland ice sheet. The farthest-reaching impact of the eruption, however, was caused by the 3,000 cubic kilometers, 720 cubic miles of dust-shaped particles of volcanic debris that were injected into the stratosphere, more than 10 kilometers, 6 miles above sea level. At that altitude, they were picked up by the jet stream, and soon a plume of ash began to circle the world. When something like this happens, the amount of sunlight that reaches our planet is reduced, resulting in abnormal cooling. When Krakatoa erupted in 1883, the huge volume of ash that was shot into the stratosphere blocked sunlight, and global average temperature